Hello everyone, it's Friday once again, and so it's time for edition 95 of Artisan Weekly. What a week we've had here in the Laravel world. We had Laracon US. Sadly, I wasn't there this time, but we had 2 days of excellent talks, new packages announced, new jobs announced. Aaron Francis joining the Laravel team, which is amazing to hear. Um, but yeah, like if you not had a chance to check those things, I do recommend you do that. There were some really, really great announcements. So let's kick in and let's look at the top 10 for this week. So obviously, in first place, we've got the day one of Laracon US. This was a really good day. Started off with Taylor announcing that Aaron had joined the Laravel team as VP of Marketing and Community. Great hire, great role for him, perfectly suited. And then we had Nuno. His talk was all about Pest 5, which was released that day. Some amazing new features there. One of the big standout ones was the tier engine, which I had a little play around with. I am impressed with the speed differences of when you enable that. I've got a test suite that was taking 300 seconds. I've got that down to 2 seconds now running, which is really impressive. So, obviously when the cloud team went to him and said, hey, we've got a problem here with the speed, can we look at it? He did something really amazing. So yeah, it was a really good stream. Lots of things announced. So yeah, head on over and give that one a watch. Next up then, well, obviously Nuno. So he's done 6 videos about Pest 5. So each of the features that he talks about. And this one's about the tier engine. Now, as I said, had a test suite that I was using and I had this running and I got the speed down. It's incredible difference, and he's really thought about things here, like the baseline that gets generated, having that run on the CI and then being able to download that locally. So every one of the developers using it has that same baseline, so they will see those improvements. So yeah, if you've been looking at, you want to upgrade now to Pest 5 because it's there now, head over to this video and find out more about the engine because it's really worth doing. Next up then, we've got this post on Laravel News by Yannick. So he's walks us through building a match scoreboard with Laravel Reverb. So adding real-time interactions, real-time things into the scoreboard. Reverb is a tool that Laravel have built and maintained. Uses the pusher protocols, kind of drop-in replacement. If you've not used it before and you want to look at, adding these kind of real-time elements like real-time notifications, things like that, this is a great post for you to go and check out. And then next up, we've got this another post now on Reverb again, but this one's by Stephen. He talks here about using Laravel Livewire, 4 and Reverb to create a real-time chat app, which is something that you might be thinking about doing. You might have a chat app already that doesn't have that kind of real-time interactions, and he can talk you through here on how to plug Reverb in and how to do that. Next then, we've got Ashley Allen. Great post here on the clamp function coming in PHP 8.6. It's great to see Ashley back. He writes some quality blog posts. If you've not checked out any of his other previous articles, I do recommend heading over. He got some real great content. He really has a nice way of writing these articles, and this one goes into some great deal about this clamp function that's coming in 8.6. So if you've not read anything about it, you've not seen the RFCs, head on over to the blog post and find out more about it. Next up then, we got this post now by Cristos. So title is what happens when you call user find. Now, I've seen this this line of text, this line of code in multiple applications, nothing wrong with it, but have you really thought about what actually happens under the hood when you do this? So in this post he tells us about exactly what happens, what Laravel does when you make that call. So yeah, if if you're into deep dives into the framework and want to find out more about things, this is a great post for you. Next up then, we've got a post by Paul Redmond. So this was another announcement by Taylor. So Paul's gone into a bit more detail here. So Laravel have released a first-party language server. So if you're using tools like Sublime Text or NeoVim and things like that, you haven't got that kind of framework aware intelligence like you might get with PHP Storm. So this LSP server will allow your IDE, Sublime Text Z, to understand, root files, configuration bindings, Eloquent, and a lot more. So yeah, if you're using those IDEs, this is definitely a package you want to be installing ASAP. And then next up, we've got a post by Steve McDougall, the API guy. This one, he's going into detail here about building an order work fulfillment flow in Laravel. So it's not something I've done in the past, but it's a great post. It kind of goes into detail, talks about his workflow engine that he's built, and kind of gives you a step-by-step guide on how to do that. Now, obviously, You might not be building a, order workflow, but it gives you a good solid basis of how to use this kind of thing for other, scenarios that you might need it for. And then next up then, we've got this post by Eric Van Johnson over on Laravel magazine. So Eric talks here about understanding Laravel facades. How many times in the past have you heard people say, oh, you shouldn't be using facades, they're, static calls, things like that? Well, Eric dispels that myth. We all know it anyway, but no, new people who come to the framework see that and think, oh, this is bad. It's not easy to test, things like that. Eric goes into some great detail here and kind of tells you what really happens and shows you that you can test these things. And then finally, we've got Alberto with this post. There's no artisan schema show, so I built one. So yeah, you might be working on an application that has broken migration files. You can't run them. You never get a true understanding what the database looks like. This package that he's developed does that for you. So it creates live EL diagrams. You're able to click around, find out more about the database. It doesn't read any of the raw data, just the schema data. Puts that together, helps you get an understanding of things. So yeah, if you've got a code base you're taking over, and things are broken, like migrations have been edited in weird ways, and you can't get them to run correctly, but you've got access to the database, this is the tool for you to get a better understanding of what's going on. So that's it for this week. Like I said, it's been a really great week with Laracon US. All those talks, packages being released left, right, and center. You had LaraProm, you had dodgeball, like so much stuff has been happening. So yeah, it's been really interesting. And if you've seen anything that you've liked today, or any of those speakers, you like their talks, reach out to them on Twitter, tell them, let them know. They really appreciate it. If you've, I've said if you've liked anything here, or these videos, do head over to artisanweekly.com to subscribe to the newsletter. You can get this in your inbox every Friday, and head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe, like and subscribe. So help us out there. Hopefully, I will see you again next week. So thanks all.